My wife cheated on me while I was quietly paying off her $80,000 debt, so I froze every account and left her broke, crying and alone. I'm a 34-year-old guy. I've spent the last 5 years of my life playing husband, provider, and unpaid therapist to a woman who saw me as a lifeboat, not a partner. When we got married, she came into the relationship with over $80,000 in debt, student loans, credit cards, retail store balances, even a payday loan from before we met. I didn't judge her. I loved her. I believed marriage meant you don't keep score. So I rolled up my sleeves and started chipping away at her financial mess like it was our problem. I picked up overtime shifts, worked weekends, skipped nights out with friends. We didn't go on vacations. I canceled a trip to see my sick mom because we were tight that month. Meanwhile, she kept ordering new clothes, getting monthly facials, paying $200 for a therapist she saw twice and ghosted. When I brought it up gently, she'd say, "It helps my mental health, babe. You don't want me spiraling, right?" And that shut me up. Every time, we never really talked about money. She didn't like the subject, said it gave her anxiety. So I handled it, all the bills, the budgeting, the payments. I thought that was love, providing so she could breathe, sacrificing so we could thrive. But now, looking back, I see it. Every time she said she was just not built for stress, I stepped up while she stepped out. I thought I was building a future with her, a home, a family, stability. But now I wonder if she ever planned on staying long enough to see the foundation I was bleeding for, because while I was breaking my back paying off her past, she was investing in a future that didn't include me. The first gut punch came on a Wednesday afternoon, one of those random moments where everything shifts and you don't even realize you've crossed a line you can't come back from. I was going through our shared credit card statement like I always did, just making sure we weren't close to the limit. That's when I saw it. An Uber charge at midnight. Drop-off location, a boutique hotel downtown. I stared at it for a long time. That wasn't anywhere near her job, or our house, or even her best friend's place. When I asked her about it, she barely blinked. Oh, that. I ordered it for a friend. She lost her keys and needed a ride. It sounded rehearsed, way too smooth, and for the first time, I didn't just let it go. I pressed, "What friend?" She rolled her eyes. "Why are you interrogating me? God, do you not trust me at all?" That conversation ended with me apologizing, not because I was wrong, but because she made me feel like I was after that. Things got weird. Her phone suddenly had a passcode. She'd turn the screen away when I walked by. She started having girls' nights she never used to need before. Once, she even told me she was going out for dinner with Rachel Lonely for Rachel to post photos that night from a completely different city. I tried to tell myself I was overthinking. But that's when I noticed something even worse. When I told her we were just a few grand away from being debt-free, she barely looked up from her phone. No smile, no thank you. That was the moment I stopped feeling like her husband and started realizing I might just be her exit strategy. Every time I brought something up anything that didn't make sense, she flipped it on me like a switchblade. Why? Do you always assume the worst of me? God, you're so paranoid lately. It's exhausting. You're acting really controlling. It's not attractive. It didn't matter how calmly I said it, how softly I asked. The moment I expressed doubt, she twisted it until I was the problem. Somehow, questioning why her phone went off at 2 a.m. with Do Not Disturb disabled made me abusive. Noticing that her perfume lingered for hours after a quick Target run meant I was insecure. And the worst part, I started believing her. I remember one night sitting alone in the kitchen, staring at my laptop, Googling how to tell if you're controlling your spouse without realizing it. I hated myself for even typing that, but she made me feel like I was losing my grip on reality. Like I had become this bitter, jealous man who couldn't let her breathe. Meanwhile, I was still doing everything, paying off her cards, transferring payments, packing her lunch because she didn't have time. She stopped thanking me, stopped noticing. But she never stopped expecting. One night, I asked if she'd want to go on a weekend trip, just us. She laughed and said, "You think we can afford that with my debt?" Like I wasn't the one paying it? Like I hadn't already canceled 3 trips for her, but I stayed. I kept trying, kept telling myself, love means trust. Love means giving grace. Love means sacrifice. Even when it starts to feel like you're giving away pieces of yourself, and no one's looking to give them back. Even when her silence becomes louder than your own instincts. She stumbled in a round. 2:30 a.m., heels in her hand. Makeup smudged under her eyes, hair looking like she'd walked through a hurricane. And the faint scent of cologne that definitely wasn't mine. She tried to act casual, said her phone died. That she accidentally fell asleep at her friend Jasmine's place after a girls' movie night? I didn't say anything at first. Just nodded. Let her talk. Then she grabbed a glass of water, flopped on the bed, and fell asleep like nothing happened. No apology, no awareness. Like I was too dumb or too spineless to notice the story didn't add up. What she didn't know was that I'd already seen Jasmine's Instagram earlier that night. They posted a group pic at 8:15 p.m. with a pizza box and a cheesy rom-com on the TV. The caption, "Movie night cut short, everyone home by 10. Mom mode activated." I didn't sleep that night. Just sat in the living room, staring at the glow. From my phone, listening to her breathe. She didn't even try to lie well anymore. She didn't have to, because she thought I was weak, predictable, forgiving. But that was the moment everything inside me snapped, not in rage, but in clarity. This wasn't a marriage. This was a con. And I had been financing my own humiliation, so no. I didn't confront her that night. I started gathering documents, passwords, bank, logins.call records. Because when someone treats you like a fool long enough, you stop begging them to love you right, and you start calculating exactly how deep they'll fall when the ground finally gives out. Hiring a private investigator felt like something bitter old men do after a divorce. But I wasn't bitter. I was done being blind. I found him through a friend, quiet guy, ex-cop, no nonsense. "Give me 10 days, he said. "If she's hiding something, I'll find it." I didn't tell anyone, not even my best friend. I wanted the truth in black and white. Not speculation, not suspicion. Proof. Day 8, I got the first call. "She's not very subtle," he said. "You'll have a file tomorrow." When the envelope hit my desk, my hands shook. Inside were time-stamped photos of her at a rooftop bar downtown, kissing a man I didn't recognize. 2 nights later, another set, the same guy, same hotel. Thursday and Saturday. Like clockwork, she told me those nights were mental reset. Evenings with her girlfriends. Turns out, her mental health ritual involves champagne and hotel beds. And guess what card she used to book the rooms? Ours, my money. I flipped through the evidence like I was studying for a final I didn't want to pass. But each page burned something out of me: guilt, shame, even grief. She wasn't just cheating, she was doing it with ease. Recycling the same lies I paid for. Wearing the outfits I complimented. Telling him the stories I'd heard first. That was the day I stopped feeling sad. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat back in my chair. Looked at the number on our joint savings account. And smiled for the first time in months. Because if she thought I was stupid enough to fund her affair, she was about to find out what it feels like when your safety net decides to disappear. When the pie called again a few days later. His voice had that edge, like even he didn't want to be the one to say it. I dug deeper, he said. This didn't start last month. I swallowed hard. How far back? 2 years. 2 years. That meant she was already sleeping with him while I was still working double shifts to knock out her first $40,000. She was whispering lies to me in bed and sneaking texts to him in the bathroom. She let me celebrate debt milestones. Like a fool while she celebrated anniversaries behind my back. And the cherry on top, it wasn't just some faceless stranger. It was Eli, her coworker. The guy I shook hands with at our housewarming. The one she swore was like a brother when I once raised an eyebrow. I'd offered him a drink in my kitchen, the same kitchen she'd later kiss him in. Probably laughing at how clueless I was. That was the moment the heartbreak ended. This wasn't some heat of dominant mistake. This was premeditated. This was routine, layered, calculated. Cruel, she used me to clean her slate. Pay off her past, build her credit score all while building a double life she didn't think I was smart enough to uncover. And for the first time in our marriage, I felt something close to power. I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. I was going to turn every ounce of her comfort into discomfort. Every luxury into loss. Every lie into leverage. She used me like a doormat for 2 years. It was time she learned what it feels like to be walked out on. And this time, I wouldn't even bother slamming the door. I made the first call from my office parking lot, still shaking from the PI's report. A lawyer who specialized in asset protection, then a financial advisor my buddy swore by. The guy rich people call when they're getting divorced. They didn't waste time. Within days, we opened a new checking account in just my name, moved my direct deposit, transferred savings, froze the joint credit cards, flagged every account she had access to. Then came the big one, the house deed. I bought the place before we got married, but she'd pushed to retitle it together to feel like it's ours. Stupidly, I did. The lawyer undid that with 2 signatures and 1 notarized letter. Legally, financially, and logistically, cut her off at the knees, and she had no clue. She was too busy posting mirror selfies and bragging about her solo spa weekend to notice the credit freeze. She even sent me a screenshot of the massage menu, finally doing something for me. I stared at the photo, knowing full well that the card she used to book it was the last charge she'd ever get away with, because by the time she was checking out, towel still on her head, glass of cucumber water in hand, her card got declined. Twice, then locked. She called me, confused, then panicked. I didn't answer, because I wasn't home anymore. I'd packed the night before. Quietly, left nothing behind but the silence she once said she needed space to enjoy. The financial trap was set. Clean, legal, swift, and for the first time in years. I wasn't the one left scrambling to pick up the pieces. She was out getting her nails done when I made my final move. I folded my clothes in silence. Took only what was mine: every shirt, every pair of socks, even the old hoodie she used to steal when she was cold. The house was quiet, almost peaceful, like it knew something poisonous was being removed from it. I left the key on the kitchen counter, next to a single folded letter. No anger, no insults. Just the facts: bank accounts closed, cards canceled, house in my name again, and a line at the end she'd never forget. This is what it feels like when someone leaves without asking first. When she walked through the door hours later, she probably expected the usual me on the couch, dinner half prepped, pretending not to notice the emotional distance between us. Instead, she found an empty closet. Her shoes scattered where mine used to be, my side of the bathroom bare. No toothbrush, no cologne, no traces. Then the real panic started. She tried to pay for dinner. Delivery declined. Tried to call an Uber, declined. Tried transferring money from our joint account access. Denied her phone buzzed with failed transactions until it went silent. Except for one missed call notification after another. 19 calls, 19 voicemails. I didn't answer a single one. The same woman who once screamed at me to give her space when I asked why she came home at 3 a.m. just got all the space she never wanted. And I didn't leave in rage. I left in control because silence hits different when it's not a punishment. It's a statement. And she was finally hearing it loud and clear. I heard, through a mutual friend, that the first person she called after realizing I was gone wasn't me, was him. The coworker. The affair partner. The man she threw our marriage away for. But when she dialed, the call didn't even ring. Blocked text. Undelivered. She tried to DM him on Instagram. He'd unfollowed. Unmatched. Vanished. Turns out, the moment the cards stopped working, so did his loyalty. With me out of the picture and him ghosting her, she spiraled. She walked into a bank, too. Apply for a personal loan, probably to cover her rent or bills, and got denied on the spot. Her credit was shot. She had no job history of her own, no savings, no fallback, so she called her parents. They'd helped her once before when she overdrafted a dozen accounts back in college, but they weren't having it this time. Her dad apparently told her, "We warned you what would happen if you kept spending like that. You're not a child anymore." She was broke, alone, ashamed. Meanwhile, I was sitting on the balcony of a quiet downtown condo, fully paid off. In my name only, mortgage-free since before I even met her. She never even knew it existed. It had always been my backup plan. A space I kept just in case life fell apart. It ended up being my sanctuary. No screaming, no lying. No guilt-tripping, just peace, a cup of coffee. And the sound of her voicemails piling up on silent. That was her rock-bottom. Not just because she lost everything, but because she finally realized she'd never actually had any of it to begin with. She was never the one holding the cards. She was just playing the game. And I'd already folded on. Word spreads fast when your life unravels. It started small whispers in group chats. Mutual friends reaching out to me, cautiously asking, "Hey, is everything okay between you two?" I never told the full story. Just sent them a photo the pie had taken of her kissing Eli on that rooftop bar. That was enough by the end of the week. Everyone in our circle knew. The same friends she used to brag to about how amazing her man is were now reposting breakup memes and quietly unfollowing her on Instagram. But the real fallout came at work, apparently. The company had a strict policy about workplace relationships, especially when they created conflicts with clients. Eli was on a big account that she'd recently been pulled into. When HR found out they were involved, it wasn't just frowned upon, it was grounds for termination. She got called into a meeting with HR on a Thursday morning, by noon. She was packing up her desk. I heard she cried in the elevator. That no one said goodbye, the same coworkers she used to have lunch with, gossip with, in the break room. They avoided eye contact, whispered as she passed. Some even posted cryptic karma quotes on their stories later that night. In less than 3 weeks, she went from queen bee of her social and professional life to a ghost, unemployed, untouchable, alone, and I didn't lift a single finger to make it happen. She lit the match. I just stopped running into the fire for the first time in years. I didn't have to chase closure. The universe handed it to me in full, with interest, and the interest was everyone finally seeing her mask crack in real time. Her email came at 2:13 a.m. I saw the notification flash across my screen while I was half asleep, wrapped in a blanket that didn't smell like tears or guilt anymore. The subject line just said, "Please read this." I opened it. Not because I wanted to, but because I knew she'd crafted every word like a performance. And I wanted to see how far she'd go now that the spotlight had gone cold. It was long, nearly 1,000 words. She said she was sorry, said she didn't know why she did what she did, claimed she wasn't herself back then, that the pressure of debt and expectations made her seek escape. She missed me, missed us, said she couldn't sleep knowing how much she'd hurt the one person who always showed up for her. She ended with, "You were the only man who truly loved me. I didn't realize how good I had it until I lost you, and for the first time." Since all this started, I didn't feel rage. I didn't feel pity either. I just felt done, so I clicked forward and attached the spreadsheet. I'd kept hidden all these years every dollar I paid toward her debt. Every student loan payment, every credit card cleared, timestamps, bank confirmations, notes. It was meticulous. At the bottom, I wrote one line, "Debt cleared, so is my conscience." Then I hit send. I didn't block her. I just let the silence speak for me, because sometimes the real punishment isn't revenge or regrets knowing the person you broke will never carry the weight of you again. It's been a year, 12 quiet, steady, healing months. I wake up without anxiety now. No more second-guessing late-night texts. No more wondering who she's really with when she says she's out with the girls. I sleep through the night without grinding my teeth or checking the time, wondering when the front door will creak open. I've rebuilt slowly, but with purpose. I've started dating again. Nothing serious yet, just conversations over coffee, walks that feel like peace instead of performance. I take my time now. I listen more to my gut than I ever did before. And when I sense even a flicker of dishonesty, I step away, because I finally learned that boundaries aren't about keeping people out. They're about protecting who you let in. Financially, I'm good. I'm better than good. Without her draining me, I paid off the rest of my own debts, invested in a small business, even started saving for a solo trip I've always put off. The weight of constantly fixing someone else's mess is gone. As for her, she still calls, still texts once in a while, usually late at night, when the silence in her life is louder than the excuses she used to give me. I never answer, not out of anger, not even revenge, but because choosing not to respond is the most powerful form of self-respect I've ever known. She wanted space. She got it. And me? I got peace. And it cost me far less than loving her ever did. Funny thing is, when I finally let go of the person who made me feel small, I found out how big I really was all along.